Hello, Kingston. Today we're going to talk about credit. Credit.
Eek. Credit.
Credit sucks. Well, doesn't.
It can.
But it really can really fuck up your life. Hello, Kingston. Today I'm Dan D, Amy V,
Hi.
and we're talking about credit.
It's a dirty word.
It is dirty. It can be a great word. It can be a great word, but it runs your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It
can.
runs your life, and it can ruin your life.
It can ruin your life.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people that have shitty credit.
I definitely have some shitty credit.
My credit isn't, really up to snuff right now either. So we're going to talk about today improving credit, because clearly we know how to improve our credit.
I'm working on it.
Because we're consistently working on it. If we had great credit, we'd have no idea how to improve it, right?
We wouldn't need to do YouTube videos.
So the first thing to talk about credit, because I get a lot of clients who want to buy a house, and that it's a biggest stumbling block is credit or debts, and that hinders them from being able to get a mortgage.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a couple of tips. Now keep in mind, we are not financial professionals.
No.
I'm a real estate professional. Amy is a political professional.
Fine.
Yeah.
I dabble in some politics.
Dabble? So go and talk to somebody who does this day in and day out. So whether it's a mortgage broker or a financial advisor, they'll be able to best advise you. Just make sure you get somebody that you trust.
Trust, yeah.
Trust is a big thing, so
Yeah,
make sure you work with somebody that you trust.
And who can, I know myself, I'm lost when it comes to money. So somebody who you find can explain it in a way that you understand.
Yeah. No.
I think that's important.
So we just know some basics about improving credit. So the first thing that we're going to want to look at is obviously go and get a credit report. A mortgage broker can do this for you. The banks can pull this off for you.
I think you can just do it online.
You
too.
can do it
go on
online.
Equifax or
Yeah,
whatever.
a lot of people don't feel comfortable putting their information online, but it's not like it's not secure.
Yeah. That's really good, I think.
Companies want to be around if it was not secure.
Yeah, they're specific ones that are known to.
I wouldn't get your credit report off Kijiji.
No. No.
But go talk to somebody and find out where you are, because that is going to help you decide how you fix it.
Yeah.
So just a general thing with credit is debts and payments is one thing you gotta look at.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone has told you make your minimum payments, which we all know sometimes is easier said than done.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Things come up.
Things come up. Some people, I think people's lifestyles probably are a little bit beyond their means in a general average right now.
Yeah, we're definitely in a
Buy now,
area
pay later type.
in our lives. It's not the same as it was, 50 years ago when our parents could go out, get a job, buy a house for $40,000, get a car for $3,000 and be set for life. We're definitely a different generation where we're
And the mentality has
struggling.
changed too. We have a lot of things available to us that our grandparents and stuff didn't have, like credit.
Right.
And how easy it is to get them, especially when you're a student.
Yeah.
You know,
Start
that-
young. I screwed up. When I
most
was in my
students
20s,
do,
and I think
right?
most of us at this age, we would go get cell phone bills or cable bills
Yeah.
and never pay it.
Yeah.
And don't realize how much that can impact you, going into your 30s or late 20s when you're looking to buy a house.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously we didn't listen to our parents because they're like, don't get that. And we just thought they were old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. And
I'm an adult.
And then we go to them, we're like, I'm broke as fuck.
Can you lend me $20?
So they may know what they're talking about. Things have changed, but they have a good general grasp of it usually. So with debts and payments, obviously don't get into any kind of a situation where you're unsure that you're going to be able to make those payments.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they say you're approved for this $600 a month car.
Don't do it. If you can't afford it, don't
yeah,
do it.
because they're going to lean towards more getting you the car as opposed to looking after your well-being. So you might be able to get a car for $600 a month. Things change with work or this or that, or you know what? Maybe you just budgeted wrong.
Yeah.
You thought you could do it, and you didn't account for other things in your life.
Or the car breaks down, and then you have
Yeah.
to worry about fixing it and maintaining it.
Live within your means. Don't get a ridiculous car if you're or any kind of debt unless you're absolutely sure that you're going to be able to stay on top of paying that. Because as soon as you start missing payments, instantly
Yeah.
that starts affecting your credit
Absolutely.
in a very negative way.
Yeah.
That's essentially what credit is. How often do you make your payments on time? And if you don't, they're going to know.
Yeah.
Not so much when we get into like cell phone bills or anything like that. Those
Yeah.
things don't really show up on your report. But if you don't pay them and they go to a third party collection service or something like that, then they show up.
Yeah.
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 So
Well, and Dan and I were talking earlier too. You know, I had my credit score done recently, and my car because the interest on my car currently is so high. It's really taken a hit on my credit. So think about that too. If you're not getting a decent interest rate,
Yeah.
then that can hit your credit score as well.
Yeah, it can definitely hinder you. When they see that high payment, that high interest rate, they instantly start thinking, why?
Yeah.
And then that starts affecting their decision based on credit.
Yeah.
So make your payments, obviously, is the next thing. The other thing that I think a lot of people overlook because they have so much trust in the people that are doing these credit reports is they don't really take a good look at the report and contest anything that could not be right.
Well, it's hard to know, right?
It's hard to
I
know.
don't know that stuff. I don't
Yeah.
really know what my rights are when
When,
you know,
when it
as far
involves
as
that.
like if a collection agency calls or,
Yeah.
you know, I went to the bank and set up an RESP for my daughter, and I was like, just do whatever you think, because I really don't have any idea.
That's another important thing. We're going to touch on that right after we talk about making sure that the information is right on your credit report. Mistakes do happen. You know, there is some identity mistakes. I'm not going to say identity theft or anything like that, but sometimes there is mistakes. I know dealing with clients who go to get a credit report and the mortgage broker will pull off a report that doesn't have anything on their current situation that was thought to be there, and then they've had to find another report that's actually accurate.
That's accurate. Oh, that's interesting.
So it does happen. So take a look at your credit report, double check it, make sure everything on there is accurate. Obviously, these people are not dumb, so you can't try and refute your collection thing like 3 years ago because you really just don't want it there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna fool them, but they will make mistakes. They just have to go through everything. It does take a little bit of time. You should always be on top of your credit report and know where you're at and what's on there. But talking about, what were we just talking about before that I want to touch back on?
Well, when I went to the bank and got the RESP.
When you got the RSP, I think it is very important, and they don't teach it really in schools.
They need to start
They
teaching
need to
this stuff
teach
in school.
Budgeting, they need to teach how to properly deal with money, because a lot of people, like a large amount of the population, have no idea what kind of investments they have,
Right.
what the differences of the investments to an RESP, RSP, GIC,
Yeah.
you know, what are investment vehicles, what are actual investments.
I'm lost already.
Right, so you gotta at least have some sort of basic understanding. Just because your bank teller says you should get an RSP, maybe you should look into that a little bit. You are buying something. Maybe you
There was
should-
actually an article recently about some workers from banks across Canada who came out and said like they are forced to sell things to people when
Yeah.
they come in to do their banking. So things like mortgages and credit cards and overdraft limits. So I don't know if they got a commission, but it's part of their job is actually sales. So
Yeah, and they are trying to sell you these investments and these credits. Because that's how these credit companies, make money, is by the interest, right? So get the stuff that makes sense to you.
Right.
Don't buy an investment if you have no idea what it is, you know, regardless whether it's high risk, low risk, you know, what's the term for this? Is it back end loaded? There's so many terms that people are just not aware of and don't even have an idea where to look, because when you get your documents, it's like 30 pages long and it's printed at like 6.
I know I get a statement like once a year and I'm like, okay, like I don't even know what it means.
Yeah, so we could honestly talk for hours about this stuff, but
About how awful most of us are.
so that just do some research with what you're buying, whether it's investment, whether you're getting a new credit card. They're going to
or
try
even your
and-
mortgage.
Yeah, absolutely your mortgage. And I
Yeah.
think when you deal with mortgage specialists, at least the ones that I've dealt with, whether they're in a bank, whether they're a broker, they tend to be a little bit more in tune
Right.
with your needs, not just the bank's needs.
Right.
I'm always a mortgage broker type of guy, but I'm not saying that I don't have some great people on my team that work in banks doing mortgages.
Right.
So, but yeah, you should know what you're getting, especially with the credit cards, because a lot of people are getting credit cards because it's like low interest or blah blah blah,
Right.
but they're not realizing all the other stuff that goes along with
We
that.
just had a conversation about my credit card actually. Dana had to teach me a little bit about what I was paying for. So.
The next thing from there is we're going to talk about debt balances. If you have, just because you make your minimum payments every month, which is great, obviously don't stop doing that. It's not going to hurt you to do that. But you have to take in consideration the balance on your debt. So if you have a $10,000 credit card and you owe $9,000 on it, that affects you applying for credit.
Yeah.
However, in the same sense, if you have a $10,000 credit card with a zero balance on it,
Right.
that also affects you negatively on your credit.
Right. And you said what? You should have about 30%.
I was told around 20 to 30% balance left on your credits.
Right.
So your credit cards and your line of credits. And I was also told that you shouldn't have really any more than 3 forms of credit happening. So a credit card, a line of credit, and maybe like a car payment or something like that. And I meet people that have like 6 or 7 credit cards, plus they have store cards like a Leon's card and this and that, plus they have a car payment, or the family has 2 car payments, and then there's a boat payment. And then they're like, oh, we want to sell our house. They probably make more than enough money to upgrade to something bigger so they can fit their boat and their 19 cars and everything. So
I want to meet those people.
the finances are good, they make enough money, the credit score is good, but they look at all these debts and look at all these balances, and that brings them down.
Right.
Because if something does go wrong, they're not just defaulting on a mortgage, they're defaulting on
On
everything. So that's it. Those are the simple steps to just kind of keep your credit in check and improve it. Once again, feel free to contact me, shoot a message or leave a comment or whatever if you're looking for somebody that you would like to meet and get to know, to see that they can help you improve your credit that's actually going to keep your best interests in mind.
Right.
And
Don't ask me.
Well, and not me either. I will tell you about houses, and I will direct you to the right people for getting mortgages and financial advice. So, thanks for watching. Visit us at kingstonhomesforyou.ca. Check out our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and like I said, please leave comments if you want any more information.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.